Thank you, sir.
You're live.
House will please come to order. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us again for the afternoon of February 1st, 2021, Wyoming House of Representatives. I apologize, we're a couple minutes behind on our schedule, but we're ready to continue with our third reading. Chief Clerk, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 35.
House Bill 35, sponsored by Judiciary, Theft Statute Amendment, an act relating to crimes and offenses, be it enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
And we do have amendments. Representative Stith. Representative Stith. Representative Stith, I see you're on the camera, but you're muted.
Mr. Speaker,
Please proceed.
I would move third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 35 and ask for your favorable consideration. And I apologize to the members of the body that you're having to think about this for a third time. I was remiss in not asking for a roll call vote on Friday afternoon. I won't repeat all the same arguments, but the bottom line is this: let's do no harm. And the way to do no harm is to pass this amendment. We risk criminalizing as theft a lot of ordinary business practices. So for example, shopkeepers, retailers who are small businesses may not keep separate trust accounts for their sales tax that they collect. They're not obligated to, and yet if we pass this out without this amendment, then if their checking account balance ever drops below the sales tax they owe before it's due, they might be guilty of theft under a strict liability theft. So, same for general contractors and subcontractors. We alter their relationships. The only court that has really addressed this issue of this knowingly use is the Colorado Court of Appeals, and that case involved a subcontractor suing a general contractor, alleging theft. So I don't think we want to criminalize a lot of ordinary business practices, and so I ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Chairman Olson, Chairman Wilson, and Representative Gray. Did you want to visit to this? I had you up for. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So Chairman Olson, Chairman Wilson, first time.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So to avoid a fourth amendment, a fourth reading amendment, I'm comfortable supporting this amendment. We've gone a lot back and forth on this, and I think I'm at a place where I'm comfortable agreeing with the good representative from the county where the water is sweet. That you look at the Colorado or the statute of the state south to us, yet it's still a little bit different. I don't think that I think our statutes are similarly not similar, but at the end of the day, they have this second knowingly in the Romanet. I think the body could probably listen to lawyers all day long debate whether you have two knowinglys, whether the second one becomes superfluous, whether the second one has its own meaning. And at the end of the day, what I don't know personally the answer to all that, but what I do think is right, which is where the good representative is coming from, which is that, you're probably better, the concept that you're better to leave it in than take it out is definitely true, because if it is superfluous, it doesn't matter. That's right. But if the good representative from the bringer of the amendment is correct and it does matter, then there's definitely some damage that can be done. Whether or not you have tremendously brought in people to the corrections system that you don't want, or you keep other people out, I don't know that it's that significant either way. But I think erring on the side of caution, I'm okay with that. I mean, I've told you this on each on each reading. You could go either way on this, and I still think that's true, but I don't know that we need to debate this for an hour this time. I am comfortable if we just delete the standing committee amendment and keep the knowingly. I'll wait to see if the rest of my committee decides to weigh in. We have several prosecutors that deal with this would deal with it on a regular basis, and I think their opinion is a lot more relevant than mine when I don't practice in this area, and I've never been a prosecutor. I'm certainly not a prosecutor. So I appreciate where the good representative is coming from. Don't fault him for bringing the amendment back again. I'm comfortable if you want to delete the standing committee amendment. So thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Wilson and Representative Obermueller and Representative Oakley. Chairman Wilson, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I guess I would like to, I haven't asked the rest of the members who are not attorneys, but perhaps I can express a thought on the behalf of all the non-attorneys who have had to listen to attorneys blather on about the same amendment and take opposing sides to what they said in previous days. More than one of these people. And the rest of us who are not attorneys are trying diligently to go along and make the right decision. And frankly, it kind of perturbs me a little bit, having worked so hard to follow these things and do the right thing, that we heard about trash cans and we heard about luggage, and it isn't until the third reading that we get emails and whatnot that we're going to drag contractors and small businesses into the brink. And I have to say, I really don't appreciate it. And I really wish that we could have saved ourselves maybe 5 hours of listening time if we ended up at the same place where we started at the beginning of the week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. I think we must have had nails for lunch, Chairman Wilson. All right, we'll thank you for that. Representative Obermueller and then Representative Oakley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On in favor of the amendment. I too am hearing from the construction industry and their concerns on this. So abundance of caution here. I vote for the amendment, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Representative Oakley and then Representative Craigo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't think I have anything that's necessarily new. It's going to kind of reiterate what I said last time. So this is on and for this amendment. And I still say I disagree that it would be the catastrophic sort of consequences if that knowingly was or was not in there. I do, however, think it's safer just to leave it the way it was, which means having the knowingly in there. And this is why I would say that. So the theft statutes, as completely overhauled in 2020, basically make theft a two-part statute. You need to be found guilty of one and guilty of this other section. The first part is the taking. So, and the way it's written, there's about 15 different ways, different orders of taking. And what this in essence did is we got rid of shoplifting, we got rid of all of this stuff and put all of this conduct under one umbrella. And so theft is now the first section, taking, and the second section, depriving the person of it somehow. And both of those have different lists that you can pick one, and any combination thereof, being guilty of one in the first list and one in the second list, makes you guilty of theft. So the reason I think it's symmetrical and is better with both of them is that then there's a mens rea piece for each of those, which is appropriate, I would say, because you do have to, basically, you have to be found guilty of both. So first, you knowingly take something, and I'll just leave it at that, even though, as I said, there's actually about 15 different ways of taking. But so you knowingly take or use something. The second part is depriving. And the two that are important here, I would say, is the first one is you intend to deprive the person of that, and intent is that mens rea. And the second would be what we're talking about here, which says knowingly uses in such manner as to deprive. So I think, again, it makes sense to balance, to have that first mental state at the beginning of each one. I still submit that because this knowingly is sort of it's a low standard, and it's just what the jury means. So I guess if you're all the jury, I'm asking you, this is why I don't think it's nearly as, again, consequential, although I do think it's appropriate. But if you were to find somebody guilty of something, do you think knowingly uses in such a manner that deprives them, is that significantly different than uses in such a manner as to deprive them? So I can see that they're synonymous, but most often in criminal law, we do have that mens rea word, and it works in this statute to keep the mens rea word as to taking and a mens rea word on the two different ways that we have to deprive. So on and for the amendment, I apologize. I'm not sure that I agree that we spent 5 hours on this, or that this is the only thing that maybe we've belabored too much, but we're doing our best to have a good conversation here. And so on and for the amendment.
Thank you very much, Representative Oakley. Representative Craigo, for your first time. Anybody else would like to speak for their first time, please start raising your hand. I see Representative O'Hearn will be next.
First for a second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative O'Hearn.
I'm on and for this amendment for all that we've just heard about. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Duncan. Representative Henderson next. Representative Duncan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to point out that I'm not sure we need to continue this debate. I think I heard that the bringer of the standing committee amendment said he's okay with the current amendment. So I'm not sure why we're still debating. I'm confused. So I think everybody's in agreement. So I think we're okay to vote. Thank you.
Representative Henderson, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm for the amendment, and I'd call the question if I could.
Any other member for their first time? Member for their first time? Member for their first time? We just got to start doing a little more third reading after lunch. Any other member for their first time? Member for their second time? Is anybody out there? Member for their second time? Representative Craigo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am stubborn, and I don't want to annoy the good representative from District 7 anymore, so I am going to stick with my original opinion, which is that the knowingly in subpart 2 is not necessary, and I would ask for a no vote on the amendment. Thank you.
Anyone else for their second time? Second time. There's only 7 available, so anybody for their second time? Seeing none, back to the sponsor, Representative Stith.
Mr. Chairman, I would just encourage everyone to vote aye and call the question.
All right, members, we are voting on third reading amendment number 1 to House Bill 35. All those in favor, please raise your hand to your screen. Thank you. All those opposed? All those opposed? Thank you. The motion has been adopted. House Bill 35 having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass? Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrew. Andrew.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Banks.
Aye.
Bear.
Aye.
Blackburn.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Burkhart.
Aye.
Burt.
Aye.
Clausen.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Connolly.
Aye.
Crago.
Aye.
Duncan.
Aye.
Eklund.
Aye.
Air.
Aye.
Flitner.
Aye.
Fortner.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Greer.
Aye.
Hallinan.
Aye.
Haroldson.
Aye.
Harshman.
Aye.
Heiner.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Jennings.
Aye.
Kenner.
Aye.
Knapp.
Aye.
Larson Lloyd.
Aye.
Larson Dan.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Nyman.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Nicholas.
Aye.
Oakley.
Aye.
Obermuller.
Aye.
O'Hearn.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Ottman.
Aye.
Paxton.
Aye.
Provenza.
Aye.
Roscoe.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Sherwood.
Aye.
Simpson.
Aye.
Summers.
Aye.
Stith.
Aye.
Stivar.
Aye.
Sweeney.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Washit.
Aye.
Western.
Aye.
Wharf.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Winter.
Aye.
Yin.
Aye.
Zawanitzer.
Aye.
Mr. Speaker.
Aye.
Closing vote. Are there any changes? Closing vote. The vote is closed. 60 aye.
House Bill 35, having received an affirmative vote of all of the members elected to the House, House Bill 35 has passed the House. Well, we now knowingly how to pass a bill unanimously. Well done, members of the House. The next item for our consideration is reports from standing committees. Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, your committee number 2, appropriations, to whom was referred Senate File 63 engrossed, PWMTF, Reserve Account Distribution Timing. Respectfully report same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Kenner, Larson Lloyd, Nicholas, Schwartz, Simpson, Stith, Walters. Signed, Representative Nicholas, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business and Economic Development, to whom was referred Senate File 41, Tax Lien Enforcement Amendments. Respectfully report same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Signed, Representatives Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business and Economic Development, to whom was referred Senate File 42, out-of-state, state bank charter conversions. Respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Signed, Representative Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business and Economic Development, to whom was referred Senate File 43, Wyoming Energy Authority Amendments. Respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Signed, Representatives Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 10, Labor, Health and Social Services, to whom was referred Senate File 54, Statewide Health Information Exchange Codification. Respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Clifford, Connolly, Flitner, Hallinan, Ottman, Martinez, Wharf, Wilson. No, Representative Stivar. Signed, Representative Wilson, Chairman.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Chairman, are there any re-referrals?
Representative Wilson has her hand up.
Chairman Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Speaker, sorry. Committee number 10 would like to re-refer Senate File 54, Statewide Health Information Exchange, to Committee number 2, Appropriations.
Without objection, Senate file, remind me of the number, I'm sorry.
54.
54. Senate file 54 is re-referred to Committee number 2, Appropriations. Chief Clerk, other business we have?
No, sir.
All right, members, you've received an email from our Majority Floor Leader regarding the bills on our Committee of the Whole. They're actually Senate files, and we've just added, potentially have another one to add. Also, in our order of business today is the rules, and you've been provided an email from the director and an email from myself. Please take a look at that. We're going to go into our Committee of the Whole, get some Senate files worked, and then have a discussion about our rules process today. So with that, Chief Clerk, any business before we go to the Committee of the Whole?
No, sir.
Any messages from the Senate? Just double checking.
No, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please raise your hand to your screen. Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. Representative Olson, you're the Committee of the Whole Chairman.
Okay, settle down. Committee of the Whole, please come to order. And good Majority Floor Leader, I just want to verify that your email list is the list that you want to proceed with in that order.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, the order will be Senate File 41, Senate File 42, Senate File 43, and then there may be others as may be discussed. So I am not sure if that'll be the end or not.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Majority Floor Leader. The first bill for our consideration is Senate File 41. The reading clerk will please read the bill.
Senate File 41, sponsored by Minerals Business and Economic Development. Tax lien enforcement amendments, an act relating to ad valorem taxation.
You've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure, Chairman Greer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that with the Committee of the Whole rises to report that it do so with the recommendation that Senate File 41 do pass. There are no standing committee amendments. And members, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to turn the explanation of this bill over to the distinguished gentleman from House District 31.
Which is?
Representative Bear.
Thank you. So folks, it's interesting when you do this just as a pause from Zoom, because when you're in the chamber, the person you're going to call on is standing at the mic, so you don't have to memorize everybody's numbers. They're just right there. With that, Representative Bear, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I stand with the committee today to introduce to you House Bill or Senate File 41. So in summary, this particular bill has a purpose to clean up language in the statutes in Title 39 having to do with tax lien enforcement related to ad valorem taxation. There are two provisions being dealt with here, and the first is found on page 3 and duplicated on page 4. This provision is striking language that could place a county at risk because the original language allowed a company to produce evidence of a certification from a taxing authority. There is a risk that mineral ad valorem taxes, which are collected every 18 months in the rears, could be misconstrued to be paid when they actually have not been paid yet. So this is to protect counties from having a transfer of property and the tax is not actually being paid. There is a second provision, which the second item is the same language that you'll find on page 4, but if you go down to the bottom of page 4, on line 16 and 17, you'll see additional language, and this is starting on line 16. We are striking language that has restricted the remedy for foreclosure to only tax sale, therefore allowing all lawful remedies for foreclosure. So those are the only two changes we've got, and this has been worked on for several years, trying to come to this this cleaner bill. And I would just like to take one moment just to mention that the new representative from District 40 had a great deal of input on these revisions and is well versed in these matters based on his experience outside of this body. I wish to thank him for his efforts to assist the state in improving our operations. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Representative. Questions on the bill?
Question.
Question. All right. Question being called. All those in favor of Chairman Greer's motion that when the committee of the whole rises to report it, do so with the recommendation that Senate File 41 do pass, signify by raising your hands. Okay, go ahead and put your hands down. All those opposed?
Win.
All right. Senate File 41 has passed the committee of the whole. I don't have a gavel to pound. This is where I would pound the gavel. The next bill for our consideration is Senate File 42. The reading clerk will please read the bill.
Senate File 42, sponsored by Minerals Business and Economic Development. Out-of-state state bank charter conversions, an act relating to banks and banking.
You've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure, Chairman Greer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report and do so with the recommendation that Senate File 42 do pass, and I'll turn the explanation of the bill, and I'll just go ahead and say his name, over to Representative Heiner, House District 18.
Thank you, Chairman Greer. Representative Heiner.
Thank you, Chairman. I bring to you Senate File number 42 and ask for your favorable consideration. I will explain the bill at this time. An out-of-state state bank is a bank established in and chartered in another state. There are times when they want to move to another jurisdiction, and Wyoming is becoming favorable because of our banking laws that we have. In fact, in the past year, we've had 3 or 4 inquiries from state charters that are chartered in other states, asking about the legislation and requirement to be able to convert into a Wyoming state charter. In fact, a couple have already started their legal work to convert, but we had no mechanism to convert to an out-of-state state charter to an in-state state charter. And this bill provides that mechanism. As we go into the bill, actually, if you look on page 2 through 5, the language basically incorporates this mechanism into the existing conversion statutes, and it's largely just conforming language. So with that, I stand for questions concerning this bill.
Question. Well, thank you, Representative Heiner. Questions, committee.
Question.
All right. Question being called. All those in favor of Chairman Greer's motion that when the committee of the whole rises to are you Representative Duncan? Are you voting, or are you asking a question? Oh, okay.
I'm voting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right.
Early and often.
Yep. Appreciate that. All those in favor of Chairman Greer's motion that the committee of the whole rises to report it, do so with the recommendation that bill number 42 do pass, signify by raising your hand at this time. Thank you. Put your hands down. All those opposed? Excellent. Thank you. Senate File 42 has passed the committee of the whole. The next bill for our consideration is Senate File 43. The reading clerk will please read the bill.
Senate File 43, sponsored by Minerals Business and Economic Development. Wyoming Energy Authority amendments, an act relating to the Wyoming Energy Authority. This bill was referred to committee number 9, which recommended that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Signed, Representative Greer, Chairman.
Committee, you've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure, Chairman Greer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the Committee of the Whole rises report and do so with the recommendation that Senate File 43 do pass. For explanation of the bill, I turn it over to the good Chairman of Transportation.
Thank you. Representative Burkhart, or Chairman Representative Burkhart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill is entitled Wyoming Energy Authority Amendments and is very specific to add a few additional industries into the purview of the Energy Authority. As most of you remember, we combined the Pipeline Authority and the Infrastructure Authority into the Energy Authority, and since then have been making tweaks to its responsibilities and duties to bring it in more in line with the future of Wyoming. And this adds their support and their ability to support specific mineral industries. It adds in other minerals besides just those that we normally think of for energy production. Specifically adds in critical materials. And these are materials which really have no substitute or limited availability actually on parts of the earth. And also then rare earth minerals, which are specific minerals which really make our modern world possible. Most cell phones have at least a dozen of the rare earth materials in them, dozen different elements. The wind turbines that are going up, each one has about 750 pounds of one specific rare earth element. And Wyoming stands to gain a lot in these areas, considering that we may have one of the best rare earth deposits in the world here in Wyoming, and that this bill will allow the Energy Authority to be involved in the development of that and assist with things like permitting, grants, getting their project going and underway. The bill further provides support for other industries such as the trona industry and other mineral industries in Wyoming. And finally, just for consistency, extends the bonding capability of the Energy Authority to these ones we've added by name. So, and that's pretty much the bill. And I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Chairman Burkhart. Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quick question here as I'm looking through this bill, and I see that, yes, I remember that we really collapsed quite a few different agencies and brought them all underneath one larger umbrella. But one of the things that I see here is I guess the underlying assumption that there's not going to be any other permitting occurring. And I'd just like to maybe see if I could get a little bit of an understanding of what the dual permitting process would look like, as I'm assuming that if there's a rare earth mineral mine being done, that there's still going to be some sort of permitting process going along with DEQ, and what kind of dual permitting processes are these particular mines going to have to go through? And was there discussion around that as to whether or not maybe this would fall underneath a DEQ's purview as opposed to the Energy Authority?
Chairman Burkhart, you want to take that one?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure I actually understand the question, but I'll give it a try initially. This bill does not affect permitting. All the existing permitting stays in place. What it does affect is that the Energy Authority can provide advice, help, coordination with permitting processes, but they don't do their own permitting. Permitting stays with the Department of Environmental Quality, BLM, Forest Service, and any other organizations. Doesn't really directly impact any permitting other than that they can give advice and maybe help them with directions and that sort of thing.
Chairman Greer, did you want to add anything to that, or are you good with that response?
Well, I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I see a few more questions coming up, so I'll go ahead and speak to that a little bit. So if you recall, the Energy Authority is an authority. It's not an agency of government. And the goals behind this is while we had the Pipeline Authority and the Transmission Authority, and we kept kind of moving and broadening their purview, their whole idea when they were both established, the Pipeline Authority is the easiest to speak to, was to encourage the development of pipelines in Wyoming to get the gas was the primary goal initially, the gas price differential down. And so what we've done since things have morphed is we've brought them together into the Wyoming, and we use the Energy Authority. So we're expanding that now to a little bit more of energy and in minerals that really matter authority, but that's awkward, right? So, but the idea being is having one point of contact, one point of expertise that we can utilize to help drive these initiatives rather than have 4 or 5 different people out there all working down the same path. So just a little bit of a reminder of why we are where we are. Great question, Representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just so people don't think I'm generally crabby after lunch, I just want to say I think this is a super idea, especially just the addition of the critical materials and rare earth minerals. I think this could have such a valuable contribution to the Wyoming economy and our national security. I really appreciate the bringing of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman Wilson. You're not crabby. We don't think that. You just helped us pass 2 bills in just a couple of minutes, so it's good progress. Chairman Eklund.
I guess it's working. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's a super bill too, and I don't have anything against it. But since it's general file, I could ask a few questions concerning rare earth minerals. Quite a while back, maybe when all 3 of the chairmen that have spoken thus far were just starting out, we had a lot of talk of rare earth minerals, and there was a focused area in the northeast part of the state. And unfortunately, it landed right on federal property, like 99.9% is private or state, and that happened to be on federal. But I'm curious, is that some of the deposits we're finding with rare earth minerals, and what parts of the state might we find this in if there are others? That's all I wanted to know.
Representative Roscoe.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could, this sounds like a good bill to me as well. If I could just get a little more explanation on the expansion of the authority of the bonding authority, what that might entail. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chairman Burkhart, we got you a couple questions teed up. Are you going to continue responding?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So to answer the first question, the rare earth deposit up in the northeast part of the state is still there. It's still being slowly developed. That company recently received a sizable grant from federal agency to proceed with their pilot project plant, which will now make it very viable. There are potentially 2 other economically recoverable sources of rare earths in Wyoming, and all of those parties are in mutual discussion, mostly for the processing portion of it. And they did secure all of the mine up in the northeast corner of the state did secure all of its permits about the same time it completely ran out of money a few years ago, and has been working to get more financing, which they have now. So that's all a go, and should be developed in the future. And so as for the bonding, all this does is allows those companies to have the same access to the bonding as everyone already in the purview of the Energy Authority. It doesn't change any of the bonding requirements or anything else. I think the Minerals Committee plans on looking at the bonding issue in detail in the interim. It's not an issue that you should do lightly, or just with spur of the moment bills, call them. It takes quite a bit of study and quite a bit of work before you start changing bonding requirements. I hope that answers both questions.
Thank you. Representative Ottman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minerals, of course, are something that I hold very valuable too, especially in this state, because we're so rich and so blessed with them. But reading down through the bill, I'm not real familiar with where it goes with this or how they work together. So if someone could maybe enlighten me. I had a question on how combining these entities and putting them under one umbrella to make them more efficient. But when we start talking about virtual currency and digital securities, that goes into another layer of things. And I was just wondering if you could elaborate on that, or someone could elaborate on that for me. Thank you.
Madam Chairman Wilson, is your hand just stuck up, or are you wanting to come back into the conversation? All right. Chairman Burkhart, you want to take a stab at that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As for cryptocurrencies and those sorts of things, I guess I'm at a loss of where that is in this bill, and trying to understand what the question is. The Infrastructure Authority and Pipeline Authority were combined for efficiencies. They were kind of doing the same thing in different industries. Infrastructure Authority handled power lines and that sort of thing. Pipeline Authority handled pipelines, and they're all transmitting Wyoming Energy. So they were combined. And then it was also done in order for Wyoming to come up with a unified energy strategy for the future and where the state was going. And that the Energy Authority, because of their expertise, knowledge, ability, and their ties with a variety of industries, is just an excellent place to then expand and include other mineral industries in the state. So, and the question on the currency and that, I would like more explanation before I can answer that.
Thanks, Chairman Burkhart. I suspect that Representative Ottman is talking about previous bill, but I'll follow back up with her. Representative Ottman.
It was pointed out to me by the nice representative that I'm looking at the House bill. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Ottman. So further questions on the bill, and just as a reminder for the body and for the public, we are on Senate File 43. Senate File 43.
Question.
All right. Question being called. All those in favor of Chairman Gurr's motion that when the committee of the whole rises to report it, do so with the recommendation that Senate File number 43 do pass, signify by raising your hand. Okay, you can put your hands down. All those opposed, please raise your hand. All right. Senate File 43 has passed the committee of the whole. Majority Floor Leader Summers.
Mr. Chairman, and first of all, my apologies to the good representative who was mistaken on House Bill versus Senate File, because the first list I said sent out had House Bill instead of Senate File, and so that was my fault, not her fault. And we have one more bill on Committee of the Whole, and that will be Senate File 63, unless something else pops into our wheelhouse.
Thank you, Majority Floor Leader Summers. And it's very possible that I may have said House Bill at some point going through all the, as we ran through the various bills. It's in that, it's a good point and reminder to the body, Majority Floor Leader Summers. And as we turn over to see bills for the first time from the other body, we have to get used to the fact that we're now looking at Senate files instead of House bills, and all of us have to adjust our language a little bit to get used to that. So appreciate your email, Majority Floor Leader, and no worries, Representative Ottman. All right, next bill for our consideration is Senate File 63. The reading clerk will please read the bill.
Senate File 63, sponsored by Capital Financing and Investments, PWMTF Reserve Account Distribution Timing, an act relating to public funds. This bill was referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations, which returned a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Kinner, Larson, Lloyd, Nicholas, Schwartz, Simpson, Stith, Walters. Signed, Representative Nicholas, Chairman.
You've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure, Chairman Nicholas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move when the Committee of the Whole rise and report. It does so with a recommendation that Senate File 63 do pass. And I will turn the explanation over to the good representative from the middle of the state.
I assume that's Representative Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is correct. I will be describing the Senate File 63 before us today, members. This is a Senate file that comes to you from the Select Committee on Capital Finance and Investment. And what this does is it really clarifies the statute. And so currently the Permanent Mineral Trust Fund reserve account is required to make deposits into the general fund in order to guarantee a specific level of available funds in the general fund each year. But it does not specify when during the year that it needs to do that. And so this bill specifies that those payments from the reserve account to the general fund shall be made on a quarterly pro rata basis. This bill also makes clear that the payments should only be made to the extent that funds are available in the reserve account. And then our good colleagues down the hall added an amendment, and that is seen on page 2 of the, or excuse me, on the top of page 3 of the engrossed copy. And that's Romanet 2, and that discusses how at the end of each fiscal year, there will then be a reconciliation between the reserve account and the general fund. And to limit the confusion, I'll let you read that, but it really is all about a reconciliation between the reserve account and the general fund. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I would answer any questions. Again, this is really just a clarifying bill because there was some confusion on when those disbursements were to be made during each year, and depending on the good individual who manages our investments and the governor or the chief executive and whatnot, there was some confusion on when they were required to make them, and so this just adds clarity to that.
Thank you, Representative Walters. Chairman Greer.
Mr. Chairman, and I think the amendment from the other house probably solves my question or just concern, but so this language, and I believe it's good language, but to the extent the funds are available, so it's pro rata as they're available on a quarterly basis. If you have a short quarter and then a long quarter, that short quarter, you don't make the pro rata payment, all of it, because it's not available, right? The long quarter, you make the pro rata payment because it is available, but then it's all reconciled at the end of the year. Am I understanding that correctly? And was there any discussion of catching up from quarter over quarter?
Representative Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the good representative. The discussion was, you are correct in your description of how the bill would work, and the reconciliation that the good members from the other end of the building brought is really to address the concern that you have there, to make sure that long quarter over short quarter gets ironed out at the end of the year. There was discussion doing it quarterly on a more regular basis, and it felt that would become more cumbersome and harder to track. And this seemed to be the easiest way to accomplish the task or the goal that you're referring to.
Representative Obermueller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question has to do with the coordination of the SIPA guarantee. How does that work in conjunction with distributions for the SIPA guarantee?
Okay. Chairman Eklund.
I think my question might be the same. It looks like we already do this. I'm thinking that it's just doing it on a quarterly basis. But I think I better listen a little more before I ask any more questions.
Okay, Representative Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The SIPA guarantee would work just the same as it does to any of the other generally funded agencies, just to make sure that it goes out in that timely manner. And that's really what this is, entire bill, Mr. Chairman, is aiming to achieve, is a clarification of the timing of when these payments should go out, because there has been some dispute as to whether those timing should go out at the beginning of the year, the end of the year, the middle of the year, monthly, quarterly, and it has bounced around. And so this is just to clarify that we will do it on a quarterly basis so that everyone is on the same page of when those distributions will take place.
Representative Obermuller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to follow up, is there a priority set as to which one goes first of those two in case there's a limited amount of funding? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Walters.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that question. I'm not sure that there is a statutory priority. My understanding, and I'll certainly clarify this if I'm mistaken later in the process, but my understanding is that the chief executive, in consultation with the chief investment folks, they and the budget office, they kind of work through that process collectively to make sure that the funds are allocated as where needed, as needed, you might say, throughout the year. And so, to my knowledge, there is not a statutory prioritization in terms of that order, but I will follow up on that. Thank you for the good question.
Madam Vice Chairman Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize in advance if this is a duplicate question. Having a hard time staying on track today. My question is, I've been getting a lot of questions from my municipalities in my district, and they are very concerned that this is in the way it's written is that it's decreasing their funding by 20%. Can you elaborate that for me?
Representative Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the good representative just asking that question. This bill has no relationship to what you are being, what the emails you're receiving are referring to. That is a different bill that will be addressed later at this session, but this bill does not have any correlation to that.
Representative Larson, Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the good Vice Chair of Minerals, if she'd go up one to Senate File 64, that's the bill that she's been getting the emails on from the municipalities.
Thank you, Representative Larson. Chairman Nicholas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to help on that, some of those previous questions, the payments to that are involved in Senate File 63 apply this quarterly payment basically to the general fund dollars and only to the 2.5% guarantee, which is part of for cash flow purposes. The SIPA payments they happen annually, so they will go in that order. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Larson, did you have more to add, or is that hand just stuck up there? That happens in the Zoom world. You won't find us just aimlessly stuck at the podium when we're in the Capitol, I don't think. Further questions, committee, on Senate File 63?
Question.
Representative Jennings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious, is this restricted in any way to Wyoming companies, or is this open-ended?
Representative Walters.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the question, but I think the good bringer of the question is on a different bill, because This does not relate to companies in any way that I can understand. This is about state dollars and timing of distribution of general fund dollars. So I can't answer that question because I don't believe it's relevant to this bill.
Okay. Representative Jennings, or maybe you're on a different bill. This happens. It's Monday. It's Monday, everyone. So further questions on Senate File 63. Senate File 63, committee.
Question on the bill, Mr. Chairman.
All right, question being called. All those in favor of Chairman Nicholas's motion that when the committee of the whole rises to report it, do so with the recommendation that Senate File 63 do pass, signify by raising your hand. All right, put your hands down. All those opposed, raise your hand. Thank you. Senate File 63 has passed the committee of the whole. Mr. Majority Floor Leader, is there anything in our hopper?
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee of the whole rise and report.
All right, then I'll move the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Mr. Majority Floor Leader, Mr. Speaker.
The Chief Clerk will please read the committee of the whole report.
Mr. Speaker, your committee of the whole, having had under consideration bills on general file, begs leave to report as follows. House Bill 40 or Senate File 41 do pass. Senate File 42 do pass. Senate File 43 do pass, and Senate File 63 do pass.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the motion for the committee of the whole report. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed?
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I believe.
Okay, I don't have the script in front of me, but I do believe that Chairman Olson needs to make the motion, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chairman Greer. I made that motion before the speaker got into his chair. That's how fast. I'm just trying to keep Chairman Wilson happy and wanted to keep it under 1 hour, so I was trying to speed it up.
Go ahead then, Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the adoption of the committee of the whole report.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Thank you much. The motion carries. Congratulations, Chairman Olson. All right. Chairman Nicholas, did you have a announcement?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, your House Appropriations will have a re-referral of Senate File 54 at the 5 minutes after adjournment, and we will continue work on House Bill 32, I believe. Senate file. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other committee announcements, re-referrals? Chief Clerk, next order of business is the rules.
And I also did receive some messages from the Senate.
Let's take some messages from the Senate, Chief Clerk.
Okay. Message 121, Mr. Speaker, the bill listed below passed the Senate on third reading by the vote indicated. Senate File 21, Judicial Review of Agency Actions, Permissible Venues. Ayes 28, excused 1, absent 1. Sincerely, Ellen Thompson, Senate Chief Clerk. Message 122, Mr. Speaker, the bill listed below passed the Senate on third reading in an amended form by the vote indicated. Senate File 56, Wyoming Gaming Commission Modifications and Corrections. Ayes 22, noes 5, excused 1, absent 1, conflict 1. Sincerely, Ellen Thompson, Senate Chief Clerk. Message 123, Mr. Speaker, the bill listed below passed the Senate on third reading in an amended form by the vote indicated. Senate File 50, COVID-19 Business Relief Programs, Agriculture. Ayes 25, 1 excused, 1 absent, conflict 3. Sincerely, Ellen Thompson, Senate Chief Clerk. You're still muted, sir.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Any other business?
No, sir, that's it.
All right, thank you very much. So, members, I've arranged for our IT staff to set up a spot where we can all reconvene as a entire House caucus, and we'll have just a short discussion about our rules process, and then we'll come back into session and go from there. So members of the public, this is something that the House does from occasionally when we have something we need to visit with our members about. And then we come back in and take any actions, of course, in a public setting. So I saw, was there any questions any privileges or questions before we break out? So if LSO would provide us the link and the, for the folks on the YouTube, there'll be a kind of a screen share, and we'll reconvene. And I would say at 3:20. We'll reconvene at 3:20. Thank you. So members, if you'll just click the join button.
Jamie?
Yes. Yes.
Jamie, is it possible for you to let me in the caucus room?
I sent you an assignment. You should just click join. Yes.
All right, thank you very much, members of the House, for joining us. And we're back live. Are we on YouTube, Jamie?
Yes, you're still live.
Thank you very much. So members, at this, Chief Clerk, any business that we need to do before we launch into the rules?
No, we can do the rules, but then I will have some standing committee reports once you're done.
Perfect. We look forward to those. All right. So members, we're on that order of business of adoption of the rules, and there will be 2 motions from the majority leader and potentially a couple motions from the floor. We'll see how that proceeds. So at this time, Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House amend the temporary joint rules of the House of Representatives for the 66th legislature by amending Joint Rule 11-3 to delay adoption of the permanent rules of the 66th legislature until the 12th day of the legislative session, which is currently scheduled for March 3rd.
Thank you, members.
Yes, and Mr. Speaker, this is simply an attempt to give us more time to work with our Senate colleagues to find some solutions for rules that we both may want to have. It just gives us more time to have a conversation with our partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, so this will be a third reading, second reading debate type of approach. So does any members have any questions or debate on the motion from the majority floor leader on joint rule 0002? Any discussion? Any discussion on joint rule 0002? I don't see any hands. I don't see any almost virtual hands. Chief Clerk, would you please call the roll on joint and just members of the public? Because we're amending our rules, it requires a 2/3 vote. So it's just easier to go straight to a roll call vote. So we will proceed with that now, Chief Clerk.
Andrew,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Banks,
Aye.
Bear,
Aye.
Blackburn,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Burkhart, Burkhart, Burt,
Aye.
Clausen,
Aye.
Clifford,
Aye.
Connolly, aye, Prego,
Aye.
Duncan,
Aye.
Eklund,
Aye.
Air,
Aye.
Bittner,
Aye.
Portner,
Aye.
Gray,
Aye.
Greer,
Aye.
Hallinan,
Aye.
Haroldson,
Aye.
Harshman,
Aye.
Heiner,
Aye.
Henderson,
Aye.
Hunt,
Aye.
Jennings,
Aye.
Kenner,
Aye.
Knapp,
Aye.
Larson Lloyd,
Aye.
Larson Dan,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
Nyman,
Aye.
Newsom, aye, Nicholas,
Aye.
Oakley,
Yeah, aye.
Obermuller,
Aye.
O'Hearn,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Ottman,
Aye.
Paxton,
Aye.
Provenza,
Aye.
Roscoe,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
Sherwood,
Aye.
Simpson,
Aye.
Summers,
Aye.
Stiff, Stiff,
Aye.
Stibar,
Aye.
Sweeney,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Washit,
Aye.
Western,
Aye.
Wharf,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Wilson,
Aye.
Winter,
Aye.
Yin,
Aye.
Sawanitzer.
Aye.
Mr. Speaker,
Aye.
Burkhart,
Excused.
Excused.
excused. Closing vote, are there any changes? Fortner,
I'd like
Aye.
to change my aye to no, please.
I to no. Larson Dan, I to no. Further changes? Further changes? Closing vote? The vote is closed. 57 aye, 2 no, 1 excused.
Thank you, members. With your vote, House joint rule, now I've lost track of where I was, has been adopted. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to move House Rule 0001. And then I will explain where this came from. So, Mr. Speaker, this come out of your Rules Committee. And the first part of it, that part that's at the top, Rule 4-3, in previous sessions, and first I'm going to read first what the rule says now, and then I will explain where it's headed. So actually on 4-3, it's a simple cleanup. It's just striking out signature and putting in name. And so that's just a cleanup. And then when you go to 4-5 is the substantive change in the rule, but not in practice. And so if you look at our old existing 4-5, it says no bill other than general appropriations bill shall be introduced from noon of the 15th legislative working day of the session, except by consent of 2/3 of the elected members of the House. Bills that have been signed, submitted, and accepted by the Legislative Service Office prior to the 12 noon cutoff date for consideration of bills are still at the printer's office will be considered as being within the cutoff deadline. Such a list of bills will be delivered by the LSO to the Speaker at the cutoff hour. And so, Mr. Speaker, in the past, we've always had this secondary cutoff in the calendar. In other words, we had a calendar cutoff for when a bill can be numbered, and then 3 days later we had the introduction deadline. So what this rule change here would do is actually put our practice into rule. And so in A, you will see no bill will be accepted for consideration except by consent of 2/3 after 12 o'clock noon of the 12th legislative day of the session that have been signed, submitted, and accepted by LSO prior to the 12 noon cutoff date for consideration of bills will be considered as being within the cutoff deadline. Such list of bills will be delivered to the Speaker. And so really this is when a bill's numbered. So we're saying at the 12th day a bill has to be numbered. And then we go on in subsection A and B and say no bill shall be considered for introduction after 6 o'clock on the 15th legislative day. So it's the same introduction deadline. It's just putting into rule what our practice has been through the calendar. And then we kind of got rid of the whole printer piece because that's really, not an issue anymore. And that was kind of archaic language. And so that's the 4-5 change. And then, Mr. Speaker, if you go on down to 4-6 and you look in the introduction method, it says after signing, instead of that, we're putting approving the bill. And so this doesn't require, it'll allow a chairman the ability to approve a bill jacket without being there in person, just to kind of keep moving the process along. It allows for some virtual stuff there. And then if you go on to 14-5, proceedings to be recorded, supersede misspelling. So we're just cleaning up the word. Same thing in 15 and 15-5, device versus device, just simple cleanup. So the one substantive change is 4-5, and it's really putting into rule what has been our practice, at least in my tenure, Mr. Speaker, and I would stand for any questions.
Mr. Majority Floor Leader, would you just explain the repeal, which is Rule 1-4, the very top of the page? This is the legislative facility one.
Mr. Speaker, I missed that and I don't have it in front of me.
So I'll do it just very quickly. Rule 1.4, which is line 1 of the proposed House Rule 0001, is when the body convened at an alternate location during the remodel of the Capitol, we convened at the Jonas Center. And I'll say that because it's in the rule, and we're no longer considering the Jonah Center our capital, and so it was a rule just for that purpose, and so we're repealing that from our rules. It was called the temporary legislative facilities, and that had to do with where we were when we were not in the state capitol. So members, any questions for the majority floor leader, or members, any questions on the rules? Representative Nyman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was just curious on 15.5 is the where it says verbal conversation on cellular cell phones. Does that mean no texting in the House or in the chambers?
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker.
No, it does not.
Yeah, no, Mr. Speaker, it does not. It's always been the practice in the House, the rule of the House, that if you're going to talk to somebody on your cell phone, you need to step out into the alleys there, so to speak. And that's the way we've texted all along. So that's there's some debate on whether we should be texting on third reading, but that might be a rule that somebody brings at some point in time. But no, this is talking.
And I should go back to our debate rules, and we'll be more. I apologize. Thank you, Representative Nyman, and I'll hold the majority leader back for a little bit, and we'll get some more out. First, Chairman Olson, and then Vice Chair Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I actually just wanted to follow up on the last exchange. It's actually a really good question, now that I think about it, from the good representative from the northeast corner of the state, because the word verbal, not to engage the lawyers again, but the word verbal does refer to the written word as well as the spoken word, because it is the use of words, versus oral is how we typically refer to what we mean orally. So I actually do think it is a good question. In the most technical sense, verbal absolutely could mean written. I don't know the history of how long this rule has used that terminology. I suppose it could cause confusion, and we would just fall back like we did on how we traditionally interpret the rule, but it's not a bad idea for a technical cleanup, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to follow up on that.
Thank you very much. Representative Duncan, and then Gray, and then Western.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a question and consideration on line 6, page 2, 14-5. The proceedings of the House shall be broadcast over the internet via real audio or similar capabilities. We are currently doing YouTube. We are currently via Zoom and YouTube. We have had a lot more interaction. We've had a lot of positive feedback. And my question is, with our temporary rules allowing the hybrid capability for our members, does this need to be altered? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Representative Gray and then Representative Western.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So just want to confirm, I mean, we passed these in the Rules Committee and they kind of got rolled into one, which I guess is just kind of the way the LSO does it. But, you know, 17 to 33, line 17 to 33, which is really outside of these spelling changes and the, you know, this change for the temporary capital or whatever is really the substantive change. I just want to ensure, I know he said it, but I just want to ensure this is 100% our current practice, correct? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Gray. I have Representative Western and then Yin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, I guess since the good chairman of judiciary want to get down the weeds, we might as well really do it. If it on page 2 for 15-5, it says on line 21, it says on a cellular telephone or similar device. So that means you can't be on your cell phone, you know, just texting away or calling or whatever, but similar device. You can set up chat messages, whether it's through Skype or through some of these other things on your computer. Does that mean you can't be on your computer either, which is also a similar device to communicate, even though it doesn't have cellular technology in it. So that's a fair question to consider.
Thank you. Representative Yin and then Larson Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to go over some of the questions. So the whole second page, the only change in language are the spelling changes. Everything else is already in our existing rules. With the cell phone usage specifically, it's specifically for verbal conversations. So things that, the noises that come out of your mouth don't go through a cell phone to somebody else. So the only thing that changes is you change the letter S to a C from device to device. That rule is going to be exactly the same. This is basically something LSO brought to us as a revisers, just fixing spelling. When it comes to the real audio stuff, that I did chuckle at that reading it when it was brought to us in Rules Committee. It provides a floor. So at the very minimum, we need some sort of audio broadcasting. It doesn't mean we can't also have video broadcasting, which we're doing already. I am in favor of doing video broadcasting of the chambers, even when we're in the chambers. We did debate that last session. We might have that debate again. But right now it's just a floor level of making sure that we have an audio broadcast of our session. And otherwise, I mean, I support all of the stuff that came out of the House Rules Committee, and I ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Larson Dan.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I just have a question on 4.6. I guess we've checked with LSO and the chief clerk and all that. I still think a signature on the jacket is pretty darn important. So I'm not real excited about that part.
Sure. Thank you, Representative Larson. Any other discussion? Maybe Speaker Pro Tem, do you want to clean up some of those questions? Or help? Or is Majority Floor Leader ready to take them?
Well, I haven't spoken, Mr. Speaker, so I guess for first time. I think Representative, two representatives ago covered most of the issues. The last question on that signing of the bill jacket. So, you know, several years ago, we had a bill that we'd send down and get worked up, and then we sent out the green cards to go out to, and Representative from Powell shaking his head, right? And we'd wait for those to come back, and then we'd gather them all up, and then we'd send them down, and then the co-sponsors would go on the bill. Well, that was a very inefficient system. So we'd come down here and get our bill jackets, and we'd go and we'd walk our bills around and get signatures on them, and then we'd go sign off and turn them in. So that opportunity to come down here and still get your bill and go around and get more sponsors on it all still exists. What the clerks are finding, and I'm guilty of this. So now with our new system, I click that button and it says numbered. I think I'm done. And so they're coming and hunting guys like me down going, hey, you got to come sign all these. And they're all piled up on their desk, getting backlogged. And I'm wondering why it isn't going through the speaker's system. And it's my fault. So that's what that's all about is that, you know, you click that, you know, if I click that button and say number it, I'm expecting that to go to the speaker's desk. If you want to come down and get your bill jacket and go walk around, get signatures and talk to people and work your bill in that fashion, and then go turn it in and get it numbered, that's still absolutely fine. So that's why that's there.
Thank you very much. Representative Worf.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I guess I had kind of a similar question. I was looking at this, that this was kind of a temporary rule change, that when we went back to a live session, that we would be going back to the old process. So I appreciate the good representative clarifying that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions on the rules, on the proposed rules, excuse me. And I think what we'll do, members, for the first time, anybody else for their first time, second time, second time, anytime? Mr. Majority Floor Leader, all right, wait, I got Representative Duncan just came up, and then we'll go with Majority Floor, or Representative Duncan and then Worf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A question back to Speaker Pro Tem. Is the thought on that section that we were just talking about with the signing of the bill jacket, is the thought of necessary to have electronic signature or just not necessary at all?
Thank you very much. Representative Wharf, second time.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, this is a question I guess I got to ask. Is this dividable?
And thank you, Representative Wharf. And I actually, we will. What we'll do is, and I'm just going to lay it out, and then we'll come back to the majority first. I'll ask if there's anybody who wants to lay any of these proposed rules back. And if we want to lay one back, let's say you want to lay back, the first one, Rule 1.4, we'll lay it back and we'll vote on, and we'll vote on it and vote on the rest of them as a consent, and then we'll go back to 1.4. I think that's the simplest way to do it. If there's one that people want laid back. Now, if we want to vote them all individually, just know we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, half a dozen, 6 or 7 roll call votes. So I'll go with so that's how I think I'll handle it, unless the chief clerk tells me she would rather not do that. I'll go with Representative Larson and then Speaker Pro Tem Greer. Representative Larson, Dan.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to lay back 4.6 then. And that's the one dealing with the signature on the jacket. I still think we ought to have a signature on the jacket if we're down here.
Very good. Thank you very much. I'll lay back 4.6, and I'll give other folks an opportunity. Speaker Pro Tem Greer.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I was just going to speak to 4.6 again after the question from.
So how about we let 4.6, we'll take it up individually because it's going to be voted separately. So we'll stick with the original motion. We'll lay back 4.6. It'll be off of this current motion. And we'll continue with any others that folks would like to lay back, or anybody that's spoken the first time would like to ask another question. Speaker Pro Tem Greer, does that work for you? That we will take up 4.6 and there'll be a motion on it separately.
Mr. Speaker, that's fine. I just have a couple comments on it. That might help.
You'll get another chance. We'll have another motion on that. Anybody else for their second time? Majority Floor Leader Summers.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, and to the good representative on rules from the middle of the state. Yes, to the best of my knowledge, 4.5 is what we've done in current practice. We just did Part A through the calendar, and Part B was really the rule. And as I looked at it, I really thought they ought to both be in rules, so it was really clear what we were doing. Because in the past, I couldn't figure out why our rule really didn't match our practice. So this was an attempt to clean that up. And so that's the comment on 4.5. And I think the good representative from the land of the north of me hit it really well on 14.5 and 15.5. That's just a simple cleanup. That doesn't mean there aren't some issues within those rules that we all may need for updates later, but this was just to fix spelling for now. And it wasn't creating any new rule, just fixing spelling. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Representative Wharf, you've already gone twice. Do you have a rule you'd like to lay back?
Yeah, I just had a question, Mr. Speaker. I wondered if Rule 4.3 is also related to Rule 4.6. It refers to the signature as well. I thought that those two might be related.
Actually, it is not. It is a different issue. One is what goes on the bill, and then the other one is the signatures on the bill jacket, which is a big envelope that all the materials that are associated with that bill go into. And you haven't seen them because Chief Clerk's not in front of the body right now, but it's a big manila envelope that everything goes on. And there's a signature that we're talking about is different than the printing of your name on your bill, which you'll see on your bills on the internet. So it's a different, in my understanding, it's a different thing. So I took a little bit of a liberty there. But does anybody else want any of these rules laid back? Any of these rules laid back? So members, at this time, we're going to be voting on, and Chief Clerk will call a roll call because it requires a 2/3. We're going to be voting on line 1, Rule 1-4 repeal. We're going to be voting on Rule 4-3, the amendments. We're going to be voting on Rule 4-5, the deadlines, introduction deadlines. And then and then we're not voting as I said, as it was pulled back for Rule 4-6. And then we'll also be voting on Rule 14-5B and 15-5. I want to affirm with the Chief Clerk that we're on the same page.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I want to affirm with the body that nobody wants another one of these rules laid back for consideration individually. Seeing none, Chief Clerk, please call the roll on Rule 1-4, 4-3, 4-5, 14-5, and 15-5. Thank you.
Andrew.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Banks.
Aye.
Bear.
Aye.
Blackburn.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Burkhart.
Aye.
Burt.
Aye.
Clausen.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Connolly.
Aye.
Crago.
Aye.
Duncan.
Aye.
Eklund.
Aye.
Air.
Aye.
Flitner.
Aye.
Fortner.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Greer.
Aye.
Hallinan.
Aye.
Haroldson.
Aye.
Harshman.
Aye.
Heiner.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Jennings.
Aye.
Kenner.
Aye.
Knapp.
Aye.
Larson Lloyd.
Aye.
Larson Dan.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Nyman.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Nicholas.
Aye.
Oakley. Oakley.
Aye.
Obermuller.
Aye.
O'Hearn.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Ottman.
Aye.
Paxton.
Aye.
Provenza.
Aye.
Roscoe.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Sherwood.
Aye.
Simpson.
Aye.
Summers.
Aye.
Stith.
Aye.
Stibar.
Aye.
Sweeney.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Washut.
Aye.
Western.
Aye.
Wharf.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Winter.
Aye.
Yin.
Aye.
Zwanitzer.
Aye.
Mr. Speaker,
Aye.
closing vote. Are there any changes? Closing vote. The vote is closed. 60 aye.
Thank you, members. You've adopted those rule changes to the temporary rules. Now we're back on Rule 4-6, and I'll be glad to give Representative Larson, the initiator, the first time, and then we'll go through second reading debate rules. Representative Larson, Dan.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I still think that the signature on the jacket is important. And then we've, like it was referenced from one of the representatives in the Southwest area, 4-3 kind of says the same thing, I think. And I think if you're going to present it to the chief clerk for introduction and reading, I think a signature from the sponsor means he's ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Larson. Members for the first time, Speaker Pro Tem Greer.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And hey, I'm fine. If we don't pass this rule, I'm fine. I just wanted to make a couple points on this, and it really is, as we transitioned to the extranet in how we work bills electronically, which it seems a bit awkward, but it's a heck of a lot better than the green postcards by a long shot. When you're doing stuff pre-session. When you're in session, it's not that big of a deal, right? Because you can go around and visit people and work your bills. Not an issue. My thing is that we lay this back, is that I think what we should do, a couple of us, is have a good conversation with our chief clerk to understand the volume of work that comes in for her. And we can leave that option open. If you come down here and get your bill and get it jacketed and you want to work it around and then you want to have it approved by signing off on it, that's absolutely fine. But I'd like to have us leave our minds open for the possibility that somebody like me, especially like a committee chairman, where we've got all these bills and we can just approve them, get them numbered, and know they're jacketed and approved and ready to go. It not only helps chairmen who are handling 6 to 10 bills there plus their own bills, it also helps cut down on the work the chief clerk has to do. So this just, we lay it back today, that's fine, we got some time. Let's just keep our mind open to have this discussion on how we can maybe do both, okay?
Thank you very much. Madam Minority Floor Leader, and then Representative Stith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm in favor of this proposed rule change. I too am like the good chair of minerals. I regrettably am one of those people that the chief clerk needs to chase down when I think I've been completely done with my bills and need to sign the bill jacket. And that's just unfair. However, that being said, I am concerned about the March session. We all know that there aren't firm plans yet. And in fact, we're being polled about some of the issues related to a March session. So I'm thinking that if we don't pass this rule, and there's a requirement of a signature, and there's the possibility that we'll be operating like we are now, it means that we are going to put a burden on staff to figure out how we can do legal electronic signatures on those bill jackets. That's really what it will mean. We all know that we use electronic signatures when we sign our per diem forms. I would imagine we'll have to figure out how we'll have to have that done on bill jackets. I think that that's a burden that we should not be asking staff to do, and we should recognize that it's possible that we might not all be together in March. So I'm in favor of this. Let's just make the option there so that we can move forward with whatever the possibilities are. And I use the plural there on purpose. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. I got Representative Stith next.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question for the chief clerk or for anyone who knows the answer. If we do not make this rule change, what's the status of, well, for instance, my individual bills? I have 3 that are numbered, and then on SharePoint, it says that they have been received for introduction. So when I saw received for introduction, I just assumed I'm done. But if we don't make this change, am I not done?
Okay.
You're not done.
Thank you very much. We'll go with Representative Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I really want to encourage everyone, just like our Speaker Pro Tem, we really need to take the burden off of our staff. We're trying to do everything electronically as much as we can, because in order for us to meet in March, and there's such a divided and divisive group of us to start with. There's a group that's saying that, oh, well, we can meet virtually, we can meet we can meet in person, staff's not an issue. This is exactly our point. Staff is an issue. And so you have to have people to be able to run around and find people to sign jackets. If we can have this done electronically, whether it's push the button and it's done, or send an email to acknowledge, or whatever it is our chief clerk decides that it's okay for her to make this work, then we're good. And we don't have to have as many staff members. This is the purpose of this, is so that we can delineate from having to have as many extra staff members running around and having people to do this. This is the same reason why we have to have the amendment page, so that we don't have to have people running back and forth to our desks, back and forth to the copy station, so that they can bring amendments to our desks. This is why we have this great calendar page on our website, so that we can have our general files and everything right there built just like our desk drawers. So I really urge everybody to think about the bigger picture here. It's not so much about your physical wet signature, but it's about the lack of staff. And if we want to meet in person, we have to give up some of those little things that we are hanging on to as a tradition of signing the bill. My first year, it was a big ceremonial thing. I took pictures of myself and things. It's a very cool thing to be signing that bill jacket. But in a time like this, we have to give up some of those things in order for us to meet in person. We can't have some of these things. So I urge us to be able to ask our staff, ask our chief clerk, what is it that would make it conducive for you to be able to run at the speed of business rather than the speed of government? Because I can tell you right now, my office runs at the speed of business. We do majority of everything by the push of a button or by my finger. Go to a store, you sign an iPad, you sign on your phone, you do everything with a signature electronically. I'm sure our chief clerk can give us exactly the guidelines that would be easiest for her. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go with Majority Floor Leader Summers, Majority Whip Olson, and then Chairman Harshman.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. And I stand on in support of this rule change. And I'm not sure, and I would like to hear from the chief clerk on this, because I'm not sure an individual bill can even go to a committee right now and get worked if you don't have a signature on the bill jacket. And I think we want to do that. And one thing that was brought up that I wanted to bring up, Mr. Speaker, is because of this new extranet system, it has a lot of security built into it. So it's not like you're going to approve a bill that you didn't approve. And so it is your kind of fingerprint in the whole system. Having said that, I'm old school. I hated going to this extranet. I loved having everybody sign my bill jackets because we actually got to talk about a bill together. But that was then, and this is now, and we need to be able to move ahead. And this is frankly moving ahead, and I don't see where we lose anything by it. It's already numbered, right? The bill's already going to be numbered on the internet for everybody to see your name on. And so a signature to me is just superfluous at that point. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think that's right what the good majority floor leader said about individual bills. And to answer the question, sorry, I was bringing my hand down. To answer the question from the good representative from the land where the water is sweet, yeah, without your signature on the bill jacket, your individual bill can't move forward in the process as of right now under the existing rules. I want to say, not to belabor the point too much, but I am in favor of this amendment. And I think if you stop and you really think about what's happening here, you can still have the best of both worlds if that's what you want. To the good majority floor leader's points of that being then and this being now, true, to the extent that you have the ability to essentially e-sign off, via the system. But there will be nothing that will stop you from using the traditional system, but for signing a jacket. No one's going to hand you a jacket to sign. But if you want to print, what this will allow you to do is you can still print off your bill. And you can still walk it around. You can still collect the signatures. That part doesn't go away if you want to engage in that process. If you want to, hold the bill in your hands and look your colleague in the eyes and tell them about your bill and gain their signature. And then you want to, I've done that, and one time I wanted to collect as many signatures as I could, and I had 43 or something signatures on a bill, and took a picture of it. I was pretty proud of that, and my signature was on it, and I was pretty proud of that. And I submitted the bill, and nothing will prevent you from doing that. The change that's occurring is the important part to focus on. That's the process change that the good vice chair of minerals was very specifically speaking to, which is the staff, and the staff having to carry around the bill jacket, collect the signatures, et cetera. That's the process that changes. And so just think of that, what does that actually mean? It means budget saving, it means dollars and cents, it means time saving, it means all of those things. So when we say something like move at the speed of business, I think what the good vice chairman of minerals is really saying is this is going to save time and money. And that just makes good sense. Is it going to make us more efficient? Some of us. Is it going to make others of us a little less efficient? For a while, probably, because not everyone's going to interact digitally or virtually at the same speed as they may have in the past. But I think of this as that budget saving mechanism, and it's globally. It's not just this one little move. It's moving everything we do in the business we do into the 21st century. Becoming paperless itself is a tremendous budget saver. And I want to close by saying, I'm a traditionalist myself. As we have a bill going through the session right now on digital notaries, for example, I'm a notary, and I recently bought an embossing stamp. So I went all the way back in time because I want to have that raised seal on the paper. But at the same time, I want to be able to sign things digitally. And I'm hoping that bill comes through the legislature and we're able to do that because it's going to make life better and easier for my clients and for the world as a whole. And it's going to save money. So I think you can do two things. And like I'm pointing out in my notary world, I can do two things. I could be a traditionalist. I can move business efficiently. And I think you can do the same thing here in the legislature. It just makes good sense. So on and for the rule, Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Representative Wharf and then Representative Yin.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I guess after hearing some of the discussion, I guess I'm even more concerned now. It seems like right now, we've always, I believe, had a lot of bills submitted in the House, more so than in the other chamber. And I guess to me, after hearing some of the testimonies, I'm concerned that we're speeding up the process to the point where it may be overwhelming, the system, making it too easy. And I think maybe it's important that we slow down and we look at this. So with that, I guess I would urge your support to support not moving this bill or this rule forward. I think we're better off to slow things down a little bit. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Yin, and then Chairman Harshman. Representative Yin, you're still muted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My apologies, members. I want to point out one thing that I haven't heard mentioned yet, which is that there's one person in this whole body that we do not want to get sick, and that is 100% the chief clerk. If you want to see our body come to a screeching halt, it would be having the chief clerk not be doing her duties. And we are, I will say for at least myself, I'm tremendously grateful for the amount of work that she puts in to make sure that this body keeps moving smoothly. And if we want to see us not do any business at all, then I would say vote down the proposed rule. But for me, I want to make sure that she's able to do her duties. And I think this is something that's completely necessary for her to do that efficiently and not have any time of any risk of putting her at home rather than being able to do the work that she's able to do for us. So I don't want to see her have to come out and get signatures for us and then put herself at risk. So I would ask you all to vote for the amendment, and I will too. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. We're on first time on Rule 4.6. I've got Representative Chairman Harshman and then Vice Chair Newsom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was sitting here thinking about what I'm hearing in the debate is some of us older guys would like to still sign the jacket, walk it around. Some folks don't. And then I thought about bringing an amendment to the amendment, and then the more I keep reading this thing, I think it allows us to do both. I guess if I want to take possession of the bill jacket, I'd simply ask the chief clerk, hey, can I have possession of the bill jacket? And if I wanted to walk that around. But I think the key, what this does, this rule, it puts the responsibility on the sponsor to approve it instead of the chief clerk or a session staff employee running around, Representative so-and-so, will you please sign your bill? It puts it on the person who's responsible for the bill to actually approve it. And I think that changes that dynamic, and I think that's a good thing. So I think we can have this both ways, the way this is written, frankly. So I don't think needs to be, as I read it and reread it, I think we can do both. And so I'm going to vote for this. I was a little reluctant myself, but I think listening to this debate, reading it over and over, I'm going to vote aye for it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Representative Newsom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think we need to go back to what does this rule apply to? Why was it first written? Why did we first have this rule? And I believe that the intent of the rule was so the sponsor of the bill could verify that they had approved the bill. So through the process of signing the bill jacket and through the process of clicking on the extranet to say, I approve this. I approved a couple just yesterday, I guess it was. So I approve those, whether I had a bill jacket to sign or not. And I think if we look at the intent of this rule, is that the sponsor be the one that says, let's go with this bill. It doesn't matter whether it's digital or whether it's signing a bill jacket.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for their first time? I'm sorry, Representative O'Hearn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm honored for the bill, the new rule.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for their first time? First time, Representative Brown.
Just a first for a second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Anyone else on the rule 4-6? Any other discussion? First time. Any other discussion? First time. Any discussion second time before the sponsor? Sponsor is probably not quite the word, but before the any discussion before Representative Larson? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I guess I was really trying to figure out why I wasn't even sure I wanted to speak it the first time around. I guess I'm having a hard time, other than tradition, understanding why what the scare tactic, I guess I'll say, why we're scared of changing to this new rule. I guess I don't understand what the purpose of being worried about this is. I view the clicking approve this bill on the intranet akin to me signing on something. We do a lot of digital signatures all over the place, especially in today's new world. And let's not forget that if we come back in March, we may not have a full staff, and it's not just the chief clerk that's running around getting signatures from everybody. It's the assistant chief clerk, and we may not have an assistant chief clerk this time around. It may just be our chief clerk. So I do worry about this, and I guess I would just ask, if we don't pass this, why not? What is the true? What are we truly worried about? And this is a legitimate question, because I don't think I'm decided on this, but I'm really curious, and to the bringer of the withholding on this. What exactly are we looking at doing by putting that signature on the folder? What does that do beyond what clicking the accept button does? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Anybody else for their first time? First time going once.
Bet it's a second.
First time going twice. I'm scrolling the screen. Representative first time?
First to second.
Thank you. Anybody else for their first time? Anyone else for their first time?
First for a second, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Blackburn. Any others for their first time? All right, so this is just a little bit out of order, but I do want to give the folks a little bit of edification on behalf of the chief clerk, who of course is not a member of the body, and I wouldn't ask her to speak to the body on the floor. But in reality, those bills that you're clicking on the internet are not approved and available to me to assign to a committee without this change. If your bill jacket is not signed, your individual bill jacket, what we've done with the committee bills, and that's why the committee bills are available to us, is we have a digital, we've agreed to a digital system that was adopted in our specials, on our Rule 23, that allowed for that to occur, for digital signatures. So whether you believe in the physical signature or digital signature or clicking on the I accept button, right now it is available to us, and that's how we got to work bills already in this session. Your individual bills, we don't have a mechanism right now to do that because of a rule like this and the interpretation of it. So it's a bit out of order for me to speak. I guess this will be my first time recognizing myself and taking a privilege. Any other member for their first time? First time going once. Representative Henderson. Representative Henderson, you're still muted.
Dadgum device. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on this. I support the change. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, and I hope you spelled device correctly, not devise. Thank you very much. Any other member for their first time? Any other member for their first time? Go ahead and mute Representative Henderson. Any other member for their first time? Thank you. On second time, any member? Representative Winter, I'm sorry you popped, but I'll let you go. Go ahead, Representative Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is, are we allowed, if we're here in the chamber at this time, to meet with the LSO in person to sign these bills?
So members, I don't know that I can answer that question immediately. As you know, and I'll take another liberty here. As you know, we have a mask requirement for interacting with staff. So I think if that opportunity is available, you could contact the chief clerk by email and then make arrangements to accomplish that. Anybody else for their first time? Anyone else for their first time? Going to second time? Second time before Representative Larson Dan. Representative Blackburn, first time or second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Great debate, great concerns, I guess. I think for myself, I am for this new rule. I mean, we do a lot of things electronically. We sign our signatures for our paychecks electronically. Doesn't seem to be a big issue. I'm not sure where the comments are coming from, where people are worried about. I don't know what the worry is. I don't understand that. Is somebody going to steal your bill? Somebody going to put in a fake bill for you? I think the way I read this, we have the opportunity to do it both ways if we want to carry the bill around. I understand getting a bunch of signatures on your bill makes you feel good to have your cohorts and your peers sign your bill. It's an awesome thing. But I'm for this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Any other member for their second time? Second time, I see Representative Fortner for your second time.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I would like to know if somebody can define approving, or is that text, mail, phone? What is it? Is that okay?
Any other member? Thank you very much, Representative Fortner. Any other member for their first time or second time, excuse me? Any other member that would like to weigh in on that question would be appreciated too. Any other member for their second time? Representative Summers, Majority Floor Leader Summers.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. And to my knowledge, right now to approve a bill, you have to go into the extranet and you have to click approve. That's our ability to approve a bill. I think they, there was maybe a little bit laxer right when we first started, but they've been pretty, LSO's been pretty hardcore about making sure we punch that button to do our own approving. So as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but as far as I know, you have to do that on the extranet.
You are muted, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chief Clerk and the folks on the floor. My apologies. Anyone else for their second time before before Representative Larson? Anyone else? Seeing none, Representative Larson, bring it home.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Quite a discussion on such an item, but it is kind of concerned me. I'm not thinking anything terrible is going to happen or anything. I just want to know, mainly approving is a text or a phone call or an email. Any of those will work. I'm guessing. I don't know when somebody's going to tell us that, but if those items would work or any of those, I'm for this. I just a definition of approving is pretty important. I think. What if the guy wasn't quite ready and somehow that mistake was made? But I think a message from the sponsor in some way has got to be taken. If any of those items work, I'm probably for this.
Yep. Thank you very much, Representative Larson. And I guess my view, and like I said, this is out of order, but my view is all of the above. All of the above. We may not have the capability to do the text issue right now. So that's a technology thing, but certainly the extranet, and certainly you could go around with the physical signature as well. So I think it's maybe not everything above, but as much as we can accommodate of above. So that's my understanding. So for no further discussion, Chief Clerk, would you please call the roll on the amendment to House Rule 4-6?
Andrew. Andrew. Baker.
Aye.
Banks.
Aye.
Bear.
Aye.
Blackburn. Blackburn. Brown.
Aye.
Burkhart.
Aye.
Burt.
Aye.
Clausen.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Connolly.
Aye.
Crago.
Aye.
Duncan.
Aye.
Eklund.
Aye.
Air.
Aye.
Flitner.
Aye.
Fortner.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Greer.
Aye.
Hallinan.
Aye.
Haroldson.
Aye.
Harshman.
Aye.
Heiner.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Jennings. Jennings. Kenner.
Aye.
Knapp.
Aye.
Larson Lloyd.
Aye.
Larson Dan.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Nyman.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Nicholas. Nicholas.
Aye.
Oakley.
Aye.
Obermuller.
Aye.
O'Hearn,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Ottman,
Aye.
Paxton,
Aye.
Provenza,
Aye.
Roscoe,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
Sherwood,
Aye.
Simpson,
Aye.
Summers,
Aye.
Stiff,
Aye.
Stivar,
Aye.
Sweeney,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Washit. Repeat, please.
Aye.
Western,
Aye.
Wharf,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Wilson,
Aye.
Winter,
No.
Yin,
Aye.
Swanitzer.
Aye.
Mr. Speaker,
Aye.
Andrew,
Excused.
excused. Blackburn,
Aye.
Jennings.
Aye.
Closing vote. Are there
Aye.
any changes?
Chief Clerk, I think we just had a vote from Andrew.
Andrew,
Aye.
excused to aye. Closing vote. Are there any changes? Closing vote. The vote is closed. 59 aye, 1 no.
Thank you, members. By your vote, you have adopted the rule. So we have exhausted the rules. Are there any rules, other rules to be brought forth today? I'm looking at the internet. Representative Gray, I see 2 rules. Are you going to lay them back for another consideration? Representative Gray, are you laying those rules back?
You want me to do it for?
Well, just let us know so the public knows as well, because they're on the internet.
Okay.
Would you like to lay those rules back until the next consideration, Representative Gray?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I would like to lay back the rule 2 and 3 that's listed on the website. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, any other rules to be considered at this time? Please raise your hand. I don't see any on the internet, so raise your hand if I'm missing something. All right, with that, we have amended our temporary rules, and we'll take up our permanent rules as we reconvene in March. Chief Clerk, any messages from the Senate?
No messages. 2 standing committee reports.
Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, your committee number 2 appropriations, to whom was referred Senate File 64 engrossed, local government distributions, revisions 2. Respectfully report same back to the House with recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Kinner, Larson Lloyd, Nicholas, Schwartz, Simpson, Stiff, Walters. Signed, Representative Nicholas, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 4, to whom was referred Senate File 57, School Finance, dates for fund transfers. Respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Andrew, Brown, Connolly, Harshman, Nyman, Newsom, Obermuller, Paxton, Summers. Signed, Representative Paxton, Chairman.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Chief Clerk, any other business?
No, sir.
Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House adjourn until 10 a.m. tomorrow, the second day of February 2021.
Mr. Chairman.
We've got committee announcements. So let's start with Chairman Harshman, Chairman Burkhart, Chairman Olson. Fire away.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 3, revenue, will meet tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And that's tomorrow morning is February 2nd at 8 a.m. Meeting details can be found on the legislative website to consider Senate File 45 and Senate File 60. And Mr. Speaker, both those bills are related. And so I want to let the public know we're going to basically take them up together, work them together as we advance them forward. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. We'll go with Representative Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 8, Transportation, Highways, and Military Affairs, will meet tomorrow, February 2nd, 15 minutes after noon recess, to consider House Bill 20, House Bill 21, House Bill 23, and House Bill 24.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman Eklund.
Mr. Speaker, your committee number 5, Agriculture, State Lands and Water, will meet tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. to work Senate File 37, House Bill 52, and House Bill 54.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman Olson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 1, Judiciary, will meet tomorrow, February 2nd, 2021, upon noon recess to consider 2 bills, Senate File 0026, Animal Abuse Statutes Reorganization and Update, and Senate File 0021, Judicial Review of Agency Actions, Permissible Venues.
Thank you very much. Chairman Nicholas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your House Appropriations will meet 5 minutes after adjournment today to continue work on Senate File 32 and for the re-referral of Senate File 54.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Good work, members. We're kind of at a funky spot with Senate files having to go through committee. And so we're kind of going to, tomorrow we'll probably have 2 committee of the wholes. Probably have one in the morning, depending on, of course, how our second reading goes, and then one in the afternoon as we get more committee reports out. So we'll kind of be in a bit of a process trying to get as much work as we can done. And it'll get a little disjointed at time. Committees are continuing to work, so I appreciate the good work this morning. I know there was a little bit of a hiccup with one of the committees not streaming live on YouTube. We're going to make sure that doesn't occur again, or that's our effort anyway. So there's nothing else for the good of the order. You've heard the motion. All those in favor of Majority Floor Leader's motion that the House adjourn until 10 a.m. February 2nd, please raise your hand. Anyone that dare be opposed? We are adjourned until 10 a.m. February 2nd. Have a good evening, folks. Good work to the committees. Keep up the good work.